Hey, good afternoon. Let's talk. I have my friend Raven here joining us for a couple minutes, sharing some of her time while on quarantine. Um, she's gonna give us a couple minutes, and we're gonna share to me, her very interesting and entertaining life. What's going on, Raven?
Hey, how are you?
I'm all right. How's everything?
It's
So
good.
let's first start with 2013 culinary school. When you left school, what did you do?
I became a tow truck driver.
Became a tow truck driver. So you left the corner. You finished top of the class in your class as well. Let me let people know you're a very talented culinarian. Um, so after graduation and all, and you finished top, like I said. So then you started driving tow trucks.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. So when did you start with the construction?
2017. I
2017
applied
started
for
construction.
helmets to hard hats, and I got in 2017.
So what is the ratio with women in construction?
Before it was slim to none. Now women make up more than 20% of the trade.
And how is that? How is that like breaking the ice? Like if you go on sites, are you like one of the only women when you go on specific sites?
Initially, yes, because I'm a laborer. Laborer is the first in, last out. So we tend to step foot in the door before any of the other trades, and we leave absolutely last after all the trades are gone. So I'm the first one in, but as the jobs and the trades start coming in, you get more of the women in, and you got a lot more women using tools. You got steam fitters, you got plumber women, you got women in iron workers. Um, they have an array of programs for the women to come into the trades now.
So recently, right before the stuff with the coronavirus went down, I knew that you were doing some advocacy in Albany. How was that, and what was that about?
My local has a committee. It's the Political Action Committee, and I'm no longer a apprentice with the trade. I accomplished full journeyman status, so I'm trying to expand my horizon in my trade. And I was offered the opportunity to go to Albany for the Black and Latino Caucus back in February, and it was interesting. It was different classes that we took. A lot of the classes were catered to women as well, being a woman in the field, being a woman owning businesses, being a woman in politics. And I noticed that there's a lot more women now than there was before. It was also um, talking about like, you know, the, how do I word it? Black women's hair, how they were saying that it's disgraceful and, you can't have dreads, you can't have this, you have to have certain kind of hairstyles. And there was a bill signed against that where you can't discriminate about hiring a female of color due to her hairstyle. The hair doesn't make the female, it's what she brings to the table that makes her job and lets her accomplish her job. So it was actually really interesting. I was supposed to go back to Albany again before all of this happened, but until everything opens back up, I can't really step my foot back into that. But
Oh, so
it's a
so
learning
people
experience.
was it OSHA complaining about the hairstyles, or just foremen on sites or whatever?
No, no, it wasn't foreman. It wasn't construction in general because us as the women like me, when I go to work, whether I have long hair or short hair, I always wrap my hair. I put a hat on, I put bandanas. Women with long hair, they wrap their hair up as well. It's the industry in general, life. Um, a woman working in an office, a lawyer's office, a doctor's office. Sometimes you go again. I do my hair. I get extensions put in. I get the braids put in. You go to for an interview and they'll discriminate on you because of your hair, or they'll say that dreads are dirty. No, they're not dirty. You maintain them. I know plenty of people who have dreads and their hair is well maintained and they smell better than some people who wash their ass every day. I'm serious.
So being exposed to that, you see how some of the barriers still need to be broken.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, wow, that's interesting. You would think that they would be past that, but even with me, I'm around electricians all day, and you very rarely see women. I might have saw one woman in the union in 4.5 years, and she was actually doing small jobs. She wasn't even going up in the bucket. I don't know if it was effective with them being all men or that's what she chose to do, but she didn't even go up in the bucket.
Well, you have to be trained to utilize any machinery. Like I use the boom, I use the scissor lift, but I had training on it. And right now, especially with the laws that they changed them around, you have to have an SST card in order to be a worker. You have to have 40 hours of training. That's union and non-union. For a supervisor, which is myself, you have to have 62 hours of training. Currently, I have 55 certifications within my union itself. Any training that they offer, I've jumped on. Any training that I was able to obtain on my own, I jumped on. And, you just have to have the drive and the want. There in New York, there's a lot of women electricians. Um,
Okay.
my last my last job site was a 28-story building that we did from the ground up, and there was I had to take care of like all the females, give them the keys. Like I said, I'm the laborer. There was about 20 women on that job site, and it wasn't a lot compared to the men because there was almost 200 workers, but 20 women on a site to the men was a big ordeal. As to when I first went to construction, I was me and one other female on a site, and we were working 3 buildings.
Well, okay, that's good. That's good. So being that we've been in quarantine for about a month and a half. I think it's like a month and a half. You've recently started using your culinary skills again.
Yes,
how's that working out?
I gained the weight.
Now onto I know you we had talked about it prior. Let's talk about your famous hobby, which everybody that's watching can see behind you, is your pole. Explain to my audience what is pole dancing. I think most people just think it's dealing with dancing in clubs and so forth and so on. I know this is something that you really have been into for a while. Explain to my audience what pole dancing really entails.
Pole dancing is an actual you like you said, everybody sees it as something that's sexual, which it is not. It's I've been doing it since after I finished culinary school. Actually, I went to a class. I liked it. It built upper body. It built core. It built a self confidence in myself as well that I didn't have previous. And now, since 2017, it became an actual sport on paper. We were trying to fight to get it into the Olympics. And I mean, it's it's fun. It makes women feel good, and men do it. My son does it. He's 17. My oldest son started getting into it more. My children been doing it with me for the longest. A lot of men do it. You don't have to be gay to do it. That's like another misconception that only gay men dance. There's a lot of straight men that do it with their wives, fiancés, whatever. So, I mean, it's a cool hobby.
I know that when the young lady down in Florida, when she fell and broke her jaw, you were like, people shouldn't be laughing and talk about the video. Explain to us some of the dangers of when you're on a high pole, like how easy it is to fall.
Um, if you don't lock your arms, I've fallen numerous times, and I don't just do pole. I do aerials. I do what you would call the curtains, because that's what I get every time I tell somebody split silks. I do the lira, which looks like a hula hoop, and I've fallen out of silks. I've fallen out of lira. I've fallen off the pole. I've fallen off the pole from all the way up high. I've fallen from down low. you get hurt. And it's not because you want to do something to get hurt. You're going to try everything in your power not to fall. But in her instance, when I was looking at the video, her lower arm, you're supposed to lock it in the move that she did. It buckled. If you slightly have, we call it micro bends. If you have a micro bend, what happens is you fall out of the move. If you don't, you have a tiny bit of space, let's say, between your thighs when you're holding the pole, you can fall. That's why we have minimum to barely no clothes, as people would say. Oh, you don't have to be naked to dance. Yes, you do. You need to skin contact to the pole. You can't dance in clothes. If I tried to do anything right now, I would just slide to the ground. Some people are strong enough. Me personally, I'm not strong enough to do everything with my arms. So a lot of people don't understand that. It's a sport. It's like lifting weights. You lift the weight, it goes over your head, your arm buckles, it's gonna fall. You could get hurt.
So if a person wanted to first like start out, what would they do? What would they do and where would they go? Could you give us that type of information?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the studios. There's numerous studios now. When I first started, there was maybe 3 studios. Now, due to the Hustler movie, J-Lo wanting to be a dancer, she gets a lot of help. A lot of people are amazed and in awe with her. She's a beautiful woman. She's 50 and looks absolutely fabulous. I want to look like her when I grow up. But she did all her performances with clothes on, and everybody wants to be a dancer. Go to a studio. You go to your local studio. Your local studio will teach you how to do everything. Professionally, I noticed a lot of the poles and the accessories got sold out after the Hustler movie. You need to
Wow.
I got studios that are trying to get stuff and products and poles, and they can't get it because everything's sold out after the Super Bowl.
Okay.
You need to learn how to hold the pole. There's forms, there's way to do everything. You need to learn how to walk, because if you try to walk, especially with heels, you're gonna hurt your ankle. You need to learn the contact. There's different grips. You need to learn how to do a push-pull mechanism. That all helps you from getting hurt. Otherwise, you're gonna get hurt really bad. Like, really bad.
Yeah. I've been meaning to ask you, like, I just think it's interesting how a lot of I remember from the movie to show the game where she had got a pole in the bedroom and everybody used to be like, oh, why would she? She was doing that basically for a man, and it was always interesting to me. So once I seen you had got into it, I said, oh, we're gonna talk about it one day. And I know that you're doing the construction, the pole, and you ride bikes. So it's like you love the adrenaline rush.
I get men in the industry that once they learn about the construction and everything, I mean the pole dancing, you know, they'll understand it. And I tell them, look up PSO, look up it's the organization that puts us out there to be a sport. So PSO stands for Pole Sport Organization. And when I explain it to them and break it down, and then a new person will come in, because it's a complete turnaround in construction. You don't always see the same people. One day you could see me and you on the site, the next day me and you are gone, somebody else comes in. So I've had the men on the site during conversations, somebody will come and say, oh, you're a pole dancer, you're a stripper. And I'm like, no, it's a difference. I mean, I don't knock dancers, that's their hustle, but I do it for sport. And then the guys won't even give me an opportunity to finish because they'll be like, no, you got to understand, it's a sport. Look it up. So it's also a learning experience, because where people will misconstrue what I do with a dancer, but then once you learn that it's an actual sport, that there's, you go to the Olympics, women are on horizontal poles. They're doing the twist and spins. We're doing the same thing. We're just doing it on a vertical pole. That's it. It's the same
Yeah.
strength required, the same time and energy required to learn the skill.
Wow. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. But is there anything else you want to share with us? Like, oh my God, you might be in the X Games one day, right?
Well, a lot of people that don't know me or that do know me, they don't know I'm prior military. I don't.
Okay.
I'm fortunate enough that when I was married, my ex-husband made enough money to take care of us financially. I was fortunate enough where we had medical coverage. I didn't really go and say, oh, I need to use the VA, I need to use this. I hang out with a lot of people who are prior service. They need the services more than me because a lot of them come out of the military disabled, PTSD, unfortunately. So they need those services more than me.
Hmm.
A lot of people see me and they don't, obviously due to the tattoos, they won't think that I was in the military, this, that, and then when they see it, it's like, for me, it's a fun fact because I don't put it out there all the time, but I am prior service. That's how I got into construction through a program called the Helmets to Hard Hats. They made it way easier for me to get into construction, where it's a recruitment process to get into the construction industry. They did their own recruitment process, and I was from day one that I signed up on my paperwork to the 30th day where they called me and said, hey, we're starting a class you want to be a part of. It was a lot quicker for me as a veteran. So,
Well, we definitely appreciate your service. The military is something, man. It's amazing how they treat a lot of the former soldiers when they come home.
yeah.
It's kind of crazy. But if you don't have anything else, I mean, like you're in the Facebook group, and we appreciate you being a member in the group. And I wanted to bring some attention to you. I know you're not really an attention seeker. You're kind of real laid back and everything, and reserved. But I really appreciate you spending a couple minutes with us, sharing a little light in your life.
I appreciate it. And I know we've been trying to do this for a while, so it's actually
Yeah.
cool.
Well, all right. If that's everything, we'll wrap it up and enjoy your beautiful afternoon quarantine.
It's all right. All right, man.
All right, take it
Be
easy. Have a
safe.
nice afternoon.
All right, you too. Bye.